Hello, good afternoon, everybody. It's Multifamily Her Live. We took a little break. Last week we had no show, but today we have a very special guest for you. I am very excited about this guest. I've known her for some time, but we haven't talked in person, so this will be quite an interesting interview. So, our special guest today, and I will bring her on in a minute. Her name is Victoria Cluney. And we got quite a bit of engagement when I posted that we are going live with Victoria. So I hope people will start joining in. And Victoria is very special, and she's been investing in real estate for over 17 years now. And she currently lives in Ottawa, but she specializes in Nova Scotia market. And Victoria has a ton of experience in real estate. And what makes her really special is that she is a fitness fanatic and she's a senior officer in the Canadian Armed Forces. So I'm really, really excited to interview Victoria today. So without further ado, let me see. Here you go. Hi, Victoria.
Oh, thank you. I mean, that is a lovely introduction, and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining. I am so excited to chat with you. I've been following you on Instagram for over a year now, and you always have a lot to say of value, and you're a huge inspiration to other women and men investing in real estate. So I'm super excited to interview you on our Multifamily Her platform.
Well, thank you. And I mean, the sentiments are returned because I just think that you're amazing as well. And I love how we can come together after a year, right? And
Yes.
I always find it so interesting when you meet somebody online. I have this thought in the back of my head, like, wow, where's this going to go? Because you just never know who you sit beside at a meetup, who you connect with online, and what comes from it. So this is just wonderful, and especially how
Yeah.
far apart we are too.
Exactly. Yes. And I feel like I know you so well because I've been following you on Instagram. Even though, so congratulations on your backyard
Thank you.
reformation.
Thank you. I'm a little flushed because I was sitting outside just watching everything going, and my husband's been actually working in the backyard. And so, I'm sure the workers are probably like, oh, hating the homeowners, but it's
Supervisor.
supervising, but we're
Yeah.
just so curious. And they're our neighbors. So we actually have like such a good relationship with them that they don't mind. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
we're really
awesome.
watching. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Victoria, how long is it gonna take? Do you want to tell us a little bit about your backyard transformation? Because I feel like it's a cherry on top of your Sunday. Because
Thank
if you can
you.
do that with your real estate
Yeah,
journey, right, that's just amazing.
this is very, very special to us. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it because I don't think I've really done that well enough on my own account. And I do plan to make it a little bit more in depth about, this backyard, because I start by saying that as investors, we're taught very early not to be consumers. And so for my entire investing career, I've always been focused on reinvesting my money. And so anything that I buy has to have that value to it for an investment
Mhm.
purpose. And I've been in the military for 21 years. My father was in the military, so my whole life I've moved. And every property that I bought was never a property that was my forever home. And it was always about resale value. That's all I think about. Well, I've had this dream about owning a pool and creating this backyard oasis. And so when we were in Nova Scotia, I had a cottage and we Airbnb'd it and it was beautiful. And
Nice.
we had a family cottage and then 3 bunkies that we Airbnb'd on the side. And we had to sell them and it was devastating
Mm.
for our family to like give that lifestyle up to come to Ottawa. The prices here were insane. The
Oh
house that
yeah.
we bought was very expensive, but it was the dream house that we wanted. And so we decided to take the revenue that we got from selling our cottage and invest it in our backyard. So this is like one property that I capitalize on personally instead of putting it back into the investments. But
I mean, Victoria, this is what everybody is dreaming of, right? Like
yeah,
why people invest in real estate
why
is
are we
to have a
doing it?
better lifestyle.
That's right. We want to create an environment that we don't want to go away for the long weekend. We want to stay
Yeah.
here, right? Well,
Yeah.
my mother-in-law is here right now, and she was talking about the traffic, and everybody's leaving. And so that's really what we want to create. And I'll drop this here. I'm also thinking big picture about having this oasis, having events even at our own home, having like
Oh
day
my goodness,
retreats,
that's exciting. Yeah.
mastermind, real estate. Sky's the limit. So like we're really excited to create a space that we will enjoy and other people can come and enjoy.
I think that's an amazing idea. I already see
Not a
real estate. Yes, in Ottawa. Guys, if you're in Ottawa or near Ottawa, connect with Victoria for sure.
Yeah, please do. Anybody.
Yeah. So, Victoria, just to kick this off, and do you want to tell us a little bit about your story, how you started in real estate? Why did you start investing in real estate?
Yeah, so I joined the military when I was 18.
Yeah.
I joined in Ontario, but I got posted to Nova Scotia shortly after. And so I decided to purchase a home instead of rent. And I got into new construction. So built a townhouse, and I was about 19, 20 years old at the time. And I always joke about it because I did 2 back-to-back new construction builds. So I sold the townhouse and then I went into a bigger single family home in like a more established neighborhood.
Mhm.
So I joke about how there's these 2 properties that were designed by a 20-year-old. They're, they're hideous. I can't, like it was when cherry wood was popular for kitchens, and I wanted green siding and brown roof. Awful. But I then moved out of that, so sold that again for profit. Just kept, stepping up. Bought a bungalow. Loved this bungalow. It was in a really nice neighborhood. And I got posted to the United States 3 months after I bought this bungalow. And at the time, investing wasn't on my mind. Being a landlord wasn't on my mind, but just self-preservation was what I
Yeah.
needed to do, because it wasn't a time that you could sell. It was a buyer's market. I would have lost a lot of money because I bought it in that short amount of time. I would have had to break the mortgage. There was all of these reasons not to sell. And so I decided to rent it. And I just don't even know how I came up with it. I think like I just did it. It was being resourceful, and we were kids. So I just had my friends watch it for me. And at the time, people were emailing. We didn't even text back then. So they would email me updates on the property. And I was living in Virginia. So I moved to Virginia,
So
and then
were you self-managing it then, long distance?
managing long
Wow.
distance
Yeah.
I think I was 23, 24 at the time, and no experience.
There's something about being young and I don't want to say reckless, but when you're young, you're kind of fearless, right? You want to try things and you think you
I
can do
was
it all.
fearless. I was fearless. And I just like ran the numbers to just be above board. So that was what I asked for. Rent was just enough. No room for any kind of maintenance or even insurance. I don't even think I was taking into account property taxes, insurance. I was literally looking at mortgage payment and any kind of like final expenses. But when I came back from the US, I didn't have the heart to ask the family to leave because they had a newborn and they were so happy in the house. And I was, just a single young female. So I bought a condo. I had saved up enough money and I moved into a condo myself. And then that transitioned me to separate my own residential home from my investment. And I held on to that property for 10 years. I hated the house.
Yeah.
And my other one. So I upgraded that one once when I had my son. So we moved into like a nicer home. But I hated being a landlord and I wanted out so badly. I mean, I had no experience. I had no interest. It wasn't anything that I felt that I had skills for. And you can imagine I had a baby face back then, and I would walk into these situations where grown men were calling me to have me change, something that wasn't working. And so I had to figure that out. But anyways, I decided when I saw the equity that I had earned from this property for very little, something went off in my head, a light bulb moment of just like, okay, I need to actually take this seriously. And that's what I started doing. So
That's awesome. And like, what did you like? What was your next step? Did you join a group or a program? Like, what was your next step?
So it's funny because I made that decision because we ended up selling it. So when my husband and I got together, he had a condo in BC, and I had convinced him to rent out his condo when we moved in together because I already had a house and the rental. So now we had two rental properties, and that's when we decided we were done. So we sold both
Oh
those
no.
properties. I know, one of the biggest regrets. So we sold both those properties, but that was the moment that changed it for us because we saw the equity. Like, it was crazy. And so that's when we said, okay, we need to reinvest it because we didn't know what to do with this money. And then we doubled down and we were able to buy a duplex in a really prominent neighborhood, or an up and coming neighborhood in Halifax. We were able to buy the cottage with the bunkie, and then another single family home. And so from there, we just started to really be strategic about our investing. The bunkies, so that I call them the bunkies, it was an Airbnb that took off. That was crazy.
Yeah,
Great.
I can imagine.
I turned it into a glamping. So it was these bunkies that I outfitted beautifully, of course, and they had power hooked up. They were right on the lake.
Amazing.
There was no plumbing. So I just marketed it like a glamping experience. We had an outhouse on the property, so they went to the outhouse. They had a barbecue to cook their meals, and they slept in these beautiful bunkies, and they had water that was pumped in from the lake. So it was but it was great. People loved it. It was almost like that, just as that trend was coming in. And the funny thing is that I still had no network. I still had nobody that was doing what I was doing. And
So you did
nobody,
it by yourself, just
I did
like
it all by
amazing.
myself.
Yeah.
I don't even, yeah, it was almost felt like a bit of a big fish in a small pond because I really didn't know anybody else that was doing what we were doing. And then we moved to Ottawa. So then we posted, and it was really just been a year now since I've been immersed in network. And I decided to start this Instagram account because I knew that I was going to be plucked out of an area that I was very familiar with, that I had all of my team, and I knew that I would go somewhere because I didn't think about long distance investing. I was like, okay, well, now I need to invest in Ottawa, but I don't have anybody. So I created this account very, very sheepishly, very shy. And I just wanted to meet some people to get connections. That's it. That's all I had in mind. But my world changed when I met like so many, you and other women that were doing the same thing that I was doing. And I was just floored. I couldn't believe that there was other people like me, the same age as me, like doing crazy things way bigger than what I was doing. And it just really skyrocketed from there.
Yeah, I agree. Like when you see people around you who are dreaming big and achieving those dreams and accomplishing their goals, it's inspiring, motivating. Yeah.
Very, and it normalizes it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because when you see people locking in big multi-units and this is your network and you know
Yeah.
this is what you want to do, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, it's totally possible. Whereas
It's normal.
2 years
That
ago,
normalizes it. Yeah.
oh, 100%. And so it almost becomes not that big of a deal, which is amazing because that's how you grow, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's this basically it's the same amount of work to close on a 20 unit deal as a 6 or 8 year unit deal, right?
exactly. So
It's a lot of work, so it's the same amount of work, just like different numbers.
that's right. And you can just kind of offset too from a risk management, right? If you've got a unit with 10 doors in it, compared to like a single family home, if you have a vacancy, it's not that big of a deal compared to your single family home where you might just be out of revenue for a month or two if you have to renovate. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's the smart way for sure. And it's the way I'm going towards.
And multifamily buildings are recession proven, so it's
Great.
a smart investment too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Victoria, can you talk a little bit about your career? Because I'm super curious.
Mm.
Being in the armed forces, is there like maybe one or two lessons that your current career in the military taught you that you think everybody who wants to invest in real estate needs to learn?
I love that question. I could tell you a million lessons that I've learned from my time in the military, and I honestly do believe that it has shaped me into the person that I am today, and especially with the confidence to be able to come into situations that I might not be comfortable in, because that is essentially the military from start to finish. You are put into situations that provides extreme discomfort, and so it really shows you your ability to get through that. And so 100% I developed that right from the beginning, was the ability to be able to withstand a lot of discomfort
Mm-hmm.
and gain that confidence that you can get through a lot more than you believe that you can do. So, and that I describe that a lot as discipline, to be able to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you do it because it's the either good for you or the right thing to do. A lot of people talk about motivation. They look and they seek motivation. But I counter that by just saying, well, if you establish discipline, when you don't have motivation, that's what you have to fall back on. Motivation's amazing. Like I love motivation, but if I don't rely on motivation. It's discipline. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
by like consistency, routine. So the military has given me consistency and routine. Even though that is not my nature, I am much more free-spirited, but there's certain aspects in my life that I'm very disciplined and consistent.
So are you able to talk about, so what are you disciplined about? Are you able to share like your morning routine, or like how where does it show up, that discipline
Mm.
and consistency?
The morning routine, so fitness is my discipline. And I identify fitness not even necessarily on the way for appearances, because a lot of people use fitness for looks. I do it for my health, my longevity. And so when I can label it with something that is much more deeper and important to me than the way that I look, then I'm much more likely to follow through. So fitness is one of my disciplines. So for a morning routine, my husband and I, we wake up at 5 a.m. every day. And I'm up at 4:30. My natural time is to wake up at 4:30, but
Wow.
I take that time to just sort of, be lazy, I guess. It's such a crazy way to say it, but that's my time to just kind of hang out. I'm still in bed, and I often will think about my day, how I want to show up, set my intentions. And I've found how valuable that's been for me, because it really sets the tone for the day and it anchors what I want to do. And then we're up at 5. We just got a hot tub, so we have been squeezing in a little hot tub in the morning, and it's been
Because why not?
like it's here, it's ready. We just kind of jump in, and
Yeah.
in 15 minutes, it warms up our muscles, and then we go into our gym. And so I then spend the hour and a half in the gym, and it's quality time that my husband and I have together. He's my accountability partner. It's not even a question in our day. That is what we're doing. And so for us, the discipline has been there, because even if I don't feel good, I'm going in there. I might not have the craziest workout if I don't feel good, but at least I know I'm showing up. And so I might go.
Mhm.
So because I do think that you need to adapt your body to how it feels. But so that has been just like consistent discipline. And I established it in the military,
Mhm.
because they pay you to work out, at the end of the day, because we're tested every year, where there's a fitness test. And so it's our responsibility to stay fit. And I used to use it when I was younger to get out of work, because I was like, well, I'm either at the gym or I have to be at the office. And so
Yeah.
I would go into every single job, and I would remember that whatever position I took over, they would say, you're too busy, you're not going to have time to go to the gym. And every single job I made the time, because I would tell whoever my supervisor was, you're going to get 100 times more work out of me on the days that I work out, because I'm going to come in and I'm going to be focused and I'm going to be high energy and I'm going to feel good and I'm going to be ready to work when I go to the gym. And so
Yeah.
that's just
And
like,
it's also always in the morning these days, right? Not in the evening. Yeah.
yeah, I'm really, I've dabbled. I can't. So I know if I miss the morning, I'm not working out that day.
Yeah.
I just don't like, that's not a part of my discipline. So it's like, that is my window.
And whoever's watching us, thanks for joining us, guys. Let us know if you have any questions for Victoria. Don't miss your chance to ask a question. So, Victoria, to wake up at 5 a.m., what time do you go to bed? I'm just curious.
9
Okay.
o'clock. And I have to say, it's a bit of a fight. So I prefer 9:30. My husband's 9, and he actually has like turned, we have a lamp. You can see there's a lamp behind me, a similar one's in our living room, and he actually has it timed. So like, he doesn't have to like tell me anymore, and it just like shuts off. And it's become like a running joke with us because I look over it, I'm like, ah, all right, fine, it is, because I know that that is smart. It is like, because I'd love to stay up and watch Netflix and, have that downtime, but I go to bed and I fall right asleep, which is amazing because I'm exhausted by the end of the day.
Oh, yeah. You would be exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And what about, are you doing any like cold showers or anything like that in your morning routine?
It's funny you mentioned that. So I just started. I thought about doing cold showers. I think it was probably a year ago, and I couldn't find enough research on it to convince me to do it because I already felt like I was, mentally tough and doing hard things. And so I was like, I don't need to add more on my plate. However, our hot water tank went out last week, and so I decided that was the time I was going to try that hot cold therapy. So I did the hot tub and then I did a cold shower, and actually it was amazing. So I've just started doing
You
cold
did.
shower because I like it. I think it just makes you feel really invigorated.
Yeah. And that's usually after the workout that you do, the cold
That's
shower?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they say it's best to do like hot. So even if you have a hot shower, finish it with the cold. And I had talked to a couple of people online about it. And so there's a lot of people that do this, and then they just kind of finish it with the cold shower, 10, 30 seconds. And it just kind of like wakes you up and you feel good, and you've done something pretty hard that day already. You can tell.
Yeah. You already started the day like that. Yeah. And that builds your confidence, right? In yourself that you can do
So
hard
much.
things.
So much. You can walk into a room, like a big thing with when I'm lifting weights or I'm doing like pretty hard stuff in the gym. I feel amazing. And I know whenever I walk into a room, I don't need to tell people this. It's a quiet confidence that I'll keep inside, but I do feel pretty badass that like I was throwing weights around this morning, or I was doing this, and I walk into that room and you just hold yourself a little bit differently when you know that you've done something hard that day.
Yeah, 100%. So, discipline is really crucial, right, for any real estate entrepreneur. So, do you have any discipline hacks maybe that to help people, if I don't know, if they want to start their day with exercise or do hard things?
I love that. I would say goal setting is very important to do that, and to be not just to say this is what I want, and so that's now you have a goal, but to be intentional with your goal setting, however you choose to do it. I use the SMART goal technique, but writing it down and giving yourself milestones to reach. But the way the discipline hack is that you need to continuously remind yourself of it. And so if you need to walk around with a piece of paper or have it on your bedside so that you wake up and you read that, and that's the first thing that you're going to see that morning. That's where setting the intentions are so important, because you're recommitting to yourself every single day, because it's too easy for us to get distracted or sidetracked. And honestly, that's what I do every single day. I recommit to myself goals, especially ones that I struggle with. I
Mhm.
recommit and I reevaluate my day and how would I do it differently today. And so I'm always on this constant pursuit of growth and bettering myself.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so inspirational, and it's so important to do that as an entrepreneur for any type of business owner.
And so simple. It's so simple. Like a Post-it note. And not long. Just, give yourself 3 things that you want to really focus on for the day. And then that's it. Those are your priority, and everything else comes second.
Yeah, I love that. And you also have gym in your garage, right?
Yeah, we do. And again, that's another investment that we've put towards ourselves, and couldn't have asked for like a better investment. And that's kind of where my name online came from, with that invest real fit, because it was like, I invest in real estate, I invest in fitness when it comes to the gym, because we've created a space that we want to show up at every morning, because a lot of people will use their basements or, some dingy room somewhere, but it's not inspiring. Hello, LA.
LA's in the house.
LA's in the house.
Yeah. Hi, Jen, and hi, Ron, Chris.
But yeah, it's not inspiring. And so that's the best investment I could ever make, is in myself. And so that's what that gym is about.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it, Victoria.
Moms, right? It started, my husband went on deployment. He's military as well. And he went away on deployment. And so it was a struggle for me to have, because I think our son was 4 at the time. And it was tough for me to go and to be able to work out and try to take him with me. So that's when we started to create that. And then it just was amazing, because our son now wakes up and knows exactly where to find us. And so it becomes,
you have a family routine.
Yep. Yeah. And so it doesn't impact at all.
I actually have seen him join you as well.
Yes.
In some of your workouts.
Which is also, there's so many benefits, but he sees us, and this is going to, through osmosis, he will ultimately start to have this type of routine, and he already has. And we're big on not forcing him, because we want to make this, we don't want him to, associate negative with fitness. But we'll never force him to do anything, but if he ever wants to, or we encourage, and it's awesome.
So, Victoria, just to finish off the fitness part of and the discipline part of our conversation, why do you think it's important for a real estate investor or any investor to have discipline?
It's all connected. It's all connected. If it's your healthy, it's your habits, it's your lifestyle. And so having discipline in areas that can ensure that you are going to maintain that lifestyle, because we aren't designed to restrict food. That's not the way, like, if we take back on, my background psychology, and even just from like an evolutionary standpoint, we are not designed to restrict. We want instant gratification. We want sugar. We want to feed ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We have to go against that in order to have that lifestyle, because the abundance that we have today was not what we had back then. And so what's available to us is not congruent with our lifestyle, right? Or the way that our bodies crave. And so we actually have to go against it. So when you understand that reasoning, it can help you to kind of establish that discipline. But if you're not feeling good, you're not going to perform well. At the end of the day, like, it all comes down to how you feel.
And doing those hard things, right? Like following through with the promises that you make yourself.
Absolutely. That's the confidence, because then you will lack trust in yourself, and you might not be able to identify that in your mind. You might not be sitting there and saying, I don't trust myself, but subconsciously you won't trust yourself. And so when you start to develop following through with what you say you're going to do, it will give you even more confidence.
Yeah. Jen says, yes, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's a skill. You have to develop it. You have to, it's like a muscle, right? You just kind of have to get used to that feeling.
Yeah, it's funny that you're saying it's like a muscle. Our previous guest, Sharon Cayetano, also mentioned that she said that she referred to confidence as being a muscle, that if you don't exercise it, then you lose it. It's something that you got to exercise.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Victoria, in your real estate investing career, what was the biggest lesson that you learned?
I would say dotting my I's, crossing my T's. I'm going to say, because although I think that real estate investing is actually quite forgivable, I think that, we could make a lot of mistakes and still come out on top. Where I mean with like dotting my I's, crossing my T's is the legal side of real estate, because this is serious business that we're getting into. Like, these are contracts. We have lawyers involved. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars at stake. And so if you're not paying attention to those details of the things that aren't considered sexy or fun to deal with, you could get yourself in a lot of trouble. And so I want to be a bit of a cowboy, and I want to come in and I want to take up properties, but I really have to make sure that I am staying in line with condition deadlines and any of that legal part of it, and
Right,
finance.
attention to detail that you need to have. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Victoria, if you if you were able to go back in time, is there an advice that you would give to your younger self?
Yeah, find a network. 100%. Like, if I could go back in time, I would tell my younger self that there are people like you, and that you need to find this community, that you need to seek this community, because I think that things would be very different right now had I found community earlier on. I'm very happy where I'm at. I'm so happy with where we are today, but I just imagine like what that looks like had my younger self found that community.
Yeah, so important to surround yourself with that network. And that's the reason why we created Multifamily Her, is that we want to show other people that there are people like them, and it's normal to invest in real estate, that
Love it.
you open up so many opportunities for yourself. And we want to inspire women and men invest in real estate. And especially, it's such a man-dominated field. We want to show examples of women investing in real estate. So I'm really happy that you came on to our show today to talk to us about your career and your lessons learned. And so I really appreciate all the wisdom that you shared with us today. And we usually keep these lives to half an hour or less, and I still have so many questions for you.
I'm a talker.
I love it. It's great. Maybe, just to start wrapping up, a question for you. What are the three maybe books that you would recommend to the audience of Multifamily Her, and that have been useful for you in your career as an investor?
There's so many books that are out there that is amazing. And so I encourage everybody to just like consume what they can. I use Audible because I'm a student as well. And so like I'm always reading reports. Audible is a great way while you're driving, while you're, doing the dishes, working around the house. But 3 books I'd recommend. Who Not How. I tell everybody about this book. It was a game changer for me. I'm a big do-it-yourselfer. I've always just been, it's hard I have such high standards that it's hard for me to feel like they're ever met. So I do things myself to meet those standards. But Who Not How really opened up my eyes to outsourcing to maximize your potential. And so that is so valuable, because it's true. You don't want to bottleneck your business at you. And even if you have to hire 2 people in order to match what you can produce, because really, at the end of the day, nobody's going to work as hard as you for something that you are passionate about, then hire 2 people. But Who Not How is one book. The other book I would say is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, if you've heard
Right.
one. And I say it's not an entrepreneur book. It's not a real estate investing book, but I think it's a really good book for helping people get meaning from their life, calm, happiness, and gratitude. And I think that it just has so many good stories and even good suggestions on sleep. I take a lot of like,
I listened to that book. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
It's
one.
a
Yeah.
really good book just for
Mhm.
your life in general. And again, if we go back to how we were talking about, it's all connected. So when you're
Mhm.
happier, you show up happier. And so you really, if you are struggling with how you feel, you have to look in towards yourself and take that responsibility to change that. And a lot of times it can be how we perceive situations.
Mhm.
Think Like a Monk. And then my last one, I'm actually reading it right now. So I
Yeah.
only give 50% endorsement, but I'm loving it. And it's The Power of One More by Ed Milet.
Oh, I wanted. It's on my list. I want to read
Get
that one.
it.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm obsessed
yeah.
with Ed Milet right now.
Me
I'm
too.
so
I love him. He's amazing. He's awesome.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. And he
Yeah.
just has like such good nuggets of information. So his book is really, really good so far. And
Okay.
I listen to it when I'm working out. Like if I go for longer runs, I
Yeah.
listen. I have to like, I'm trying to take mental notes of all these things that he's talking about that I almost like need to re-listen to it because it's so, so good, so valuable.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. So who not how?
Not How, Think Like a Monk, and then Power of One
Oh,
More.
one more. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna look up The Power of One More. It was on my list and I haven't read it yet.
It's great.
And what's one question that you wish I asked you, and how would you have answered it? Because I'm sure I missed a lot of questions. It's been,
No,
a trip.
it's I thought like, let me think, because you've asked some like amazing, amazing questions. I'm really impressed with your preparation.
Thank you. I'm impressed by you, Victoria. That's
Not impressed by you. We'll just sit here. It's like it's very Canadian of us to just be so. I think like maybe one piece of advice that I would give to either a new investor or women that coming into this space. And for me, I really, really think that it's important for people to raise their standards. I think that if you go through life with standards up to here, and that's what you accept, that's it. That's the only thing that you're going to accept. And it doesn't mean that you have to be combative. It just means that this isn't the space that you want to put your efforts in, but you want to put your efforts into something that brings those standards up. So I think that we all just need to raise our standards for ourselves and for other people that we work with and that we communicate with. And if people aren't meeting that, then, it might just mean that you need to go in a different direction.
Victoria. I can tell you how much that resonates with me. It's so true for ourselves, for everybody, and that know that you deserve better, you deserve more, and it's okay to want more, and it's okay to want better, and it's okay to improve your life, like raise your standards. I love that.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad that connected.
Victoria, where can listeners find you online?
I am most active on Instagram only because I have that's all I have capacity to focus on. That's why I was like, I do have Facebook. So I'm Invest Real Fit is my handle on Instagram. I've been dabbling in the world of TikTok, and it's actually I'm having fun with TikTok. So Instagram is where I have real community. TikTok, I just like have fun putting up videos. I do have a Facebook community called Cluney Co. And the tagline is Healthy, Wealthy, Wise. And so the community is just all about that, promoting
That's
health,
awesome. Yeah.
wealth, wisdom. And so it's really kind of what I stand for.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna post where to find you online in the comments so that people can connect with you. And Victoria, do you have any final thoughts before we say byes?
But I mean, please say hi to me wherever it is that you see, because I will answer every single person that says hi that's not spamming me. I
Yes.
want you to sell me something right away, but
Yeah.
I would love to I just love talking to people and helping people and adding value and just being able to give as much that I can, because this is the stuff that I wish I had. And so, I mean, I will just put as much out as I can. So please say hi.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody who joined us this live and asked questions and said hello and commented. We really appreciate you. And Victoria, we appreciate you so much. Thank you.
So much. Appreciate that.
Take care. Have a great weekend, everybody. Long weekend. Bye. Take care.